And I think stuff like Spotify. I mean, I remember going to music stores. My first ever record I ever bought, I was living in Glasgow in 1972. My stepdad was Scottish, and I saved up some money from car washing, and I bought Ride a White Swan by T-Rex. That was the actual first record I ever actually bought. And I remember coming home. I remember coming home and sticking it on the little record player, and I was like 12. I was like, wow, man, this is fantastic, T-Rex. And then, of course, it went from T-Rex to David Bowie to everything else. But then I got into rockabilly and became a teddy boy, and the rest is history. But on my show, just to let you know, I do play a lot of different stuff. I start out with the blues and the rockabilly, but then I go into like some old Trojan ska. I play some Dolls, some Iggy, some Stooges, Roxy Music, U2. I just talked to Debbie Harry last week. I've had interviewed JJ.
Did you read her book?
No, I haven't had a chance. No, it tells all, though, right? It tells all.
It's a great book. I mean, I've actually been reading a lot of biographies of our generation of people. I've been trying to go back to find out, where I came from, because I kind of forgot. I did this thing for 40 years and forgot where I came from. So I've gone back to the music. I've been looking at the movies from that era.
Yeah,
I watched White Riot recently. The anti-racism marches. It's hard to remember, but we were there. Police brutality is not a recent thing.
No, I mean, I was there on the streets in London when stuff was going down. I remember when the Stranglers played and they had the strippers on the stage, and it was all a rock against racism. And then you had the whole ska movement, coming out, like, trying to blend the kids together. And it was only a very brief period. It was a very brief period in the beginning of punk in '76, where propagated mostly by Malcolm McLaren and Vivienne Westwood about, the punks and the Teds fighting down the King's Road. And I was on the Ted side, and our manager managed Johnny Thunders and Heartbreakers. And he said he wanted us to play not to Teds, but to punks. So my first gig was with Steel Pulse at the Royal College of Art in '76, '77. My second gig was with Susie and the Banshees and Adam and the Ants at the Music Machine in Camden Town.
Wow.
And that was a scary gig, because I had invited a few Teds there up to the VIP lounge, and there was Lemmy there and Phil Lynott. And then up the stairs came Johnny Rotten. And then my teddy boy said, "That's Johnny Rotten. We got to have him, Smut." I said, "This is my gig. This is Susie and the Banshees. And this isn't on your ground. This isn't a teddy boy gig. You're not going to touch or say anything to Johnny Rotten." They're like, "Smut, we can't just stand here and look at Johnny Rotten." I said, "Well, you're going to have to." And then it only lasted a little while before other bands like Whirlwind and a few other rockabilly bands started playing with like Elvis Costello, and then eventually we toured with the Clash. We did Times Square with the Clash, and we did Orpheum with the Clash. And so it was one point I remember a Clash gig at Bonds where I went backstage. And we were all dressed rockabilly and all that gear on. And Mick Jones had the same shirt on as me, creepers and skinny braces and a quiff. And I thought, I think the Clash look more rockabilly than we do. So it was good time. It was good times, though, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. I mean, and I'm glad. We changed things a little bit. We didn't necessarily change the world, but I think it's a much safer place now. And people are now talking about racism and sexism, and it's
absolutely.
And that wouldn't have happened without that movement. We did
a tour with the first transgender rock star, Jane County and the Electric Chairs, 1977. It was the first transgender. She played the Club 82 before the Dolls. And when she came to England, she got signed to Safari Records, and we did a tour. When we got to Glasgow, the promoter put some tape down the middle of the dance floor from the monitors, because there were punks there and Teds. And when they came in, they said the punks go on the right side and the teddy boys go on the left. And they actually did it. So when you looked out at the audience, on my side of the stage, there was like the rockabillys. And on the other side of the stage was the punks, because we were opening up for a punk band. And there was that kind of rivalry between punks and Teds. It was very interesting. But God, Adam, it's been a long time, man. It's really, really, really cool to see you and chat to you. It's been really nice, and I just want to thank you profusely for getting back to me and reaching out. It's been too long, but Adam, much respect, much.
All right, listen, you take care. Thank you so much. Lovely catching up with you.